waking up every day feeling like I'm withdrawing as soon as I wake up, sometimes in the middle of the night, and waking up and thinking, wow, I'm trapped. I'm trapped in my body. Like I'm a prisoner in my own body and I don't know how to get out. I think the first time that I realized I had a problem with drugs was when I was about 17. And I would be going to raves and parties with my friends. And while they were just doing a little bit to have fun, I felt like I couldn't stop. I felt like I had to get more and more and more and more. And I would put myself in really precarious situations in order to do so. But I don't think it really got bad until later on in my life. And once I realized that when I stopped taking drugs or when I stopped drinking, that I had a physical effect, that I started feeling terrible. Either, the body aches or the sweating or cravings or nausea, whatever it may be. The physical effect was there. And so I knew not only was I, chemically dependent, I was also like emotionally dependent. I needed it to be normal. The first time I think I had physical symptoms, well, there were mild ones. There's the hangover. That's technically a physical symptom. But I think about 4 or 5 years ago, I decided one day that I really wanted to stop. And I had been stopping, or I had stopped for about 3 days. And I felt terrible. And it didn't even dawn on me that there's might be something wrong until I realized maybe I feel bad because I haven't dosed in a while. And then I did and I felt better. And that's when I really knew, wow, I'm screwed. I don't know what I'm going to do now. From realizing that I was so dependent on these drugs and having these physical side effects and feeling like I couldn't be normal without them, after it stopped being fun for me, I think that it started to go downhill when I realized that I didn't have the emotional support to get into a situation where I could get clean safely and without having the obligations of motherhood. With two small children, it can be very taxing on your body to be withdrawing while you're trying to change diapers and make food for your husband, et cetera, et cetera. So it started to turn into I would get clean for a few days and then I'd give up. And, that cycle continued. And I just remember waking up one day and just, waking up every day feeling like I'm withdrawing as soon as I wake up, sometimes in the middle of the night, and waking up and thinking, wow, I'm trapped. I'm trapped in my body. Like I'm a prisoner in my own body and I don't know how to get out. So when I was growing up, I had this idea that I was going to grow up and go to college and, match my sister who went to university, and that I was going to be not only a scholar and an artist, which is what I really wanted to be, but also a wife and a mother. You watch the Disney princess movies and you think, I'm going to marry a man and be swept off my feet, and then we're going to have children and a beautiful wedding, and, we live happily ever after. And that, I'm not saying that's not the way it works for some people, but that's just not the way it worked out for me. I got my heart broken really young, and I didn't know how to cope with that because I had been taking medication when I was younger for a very long time. That wasn't working for me. I stopped taking it, and at that point I didn't know how to cope with the real world. I didn't know how to write a check. I didn't know how to change a tire. I didn't know how to order a pizza. I was very much underdeveloped and still a child. And so I ran away, and my only coping mechanism was to start doing drugs. And at first it was fun and dangerous and adventurous, and it seemed like everybody did it, which is not far from the truth. And as it grew and as I got older, people started growing up without me. And I realized that I continued to do these things, and the worse that made me feel, or the worse anything made me feel, the more I sought out that escape. It wasn't a party, it wasn't a good time, it was an escape. Because I was absolutely profoundly depressed. And I still struggle with depression, for sure. But that's not the coping mechanism for me today. So what it's looking like what it was looking like during when it got to its worst bit is kind of funny because it looked fine. I think everyone thought I was fine. In fact, at that time in my life, when it was the worst, when I wasn't, you know, obviously being a delinquent, when I was trying to hide it as a mother, and when I was trying to hide it as, you know, a sister and a daughter, and a wife, I think it looked like I had it together. I think I looked like Martha Stewart. That's what I tried to do. I was cloth diapering my children, and I had planned on doing, you know, homeschooling, and I just wanted to be perfect. And the drugs I was doing allowed me to have the energy and the patience to do those things that I feel like other people, you know, I keep mimicking the habits of adulthood and not necessarily really being there. I think inside I felt helpless. I felt like out of control. I felt like a glass of water when it's right on the edge and it's about to flow over. And I felt like there was a constant maintenance for me to achieve even the slightest bit of joy. And there's fulfillment in being a mother, but you can't be friends with a 3-year-old, you know? So, and I think my marriage was falling apart as well. I felt very alone and misunderstood, which is a lot of my fault from cutting everyone off. I felt like I had to be perfect. I felt like I was a ghost of my former self, like completely hollow. And even though I looked perfect, I was just very sad. When I came to Harbor Village, there was a lot of guilt that I'd internalized for so long, and I felt ashamed of myself. I felt really sorry for myself. Kind of pathetic, really, but I have compassion for myself now. It's pretty normal. But I think that there's a difference between feeling responsibility, acknowledging your part in things, taking accountability, and then just feeling sorry for yourself. You know, woe is me. I did this. I can't, you know, my marriage fell apart because of me, which is true. I lost my kids because of me. That is true. I got them back. But, you know, Andrea, kind of everyone on the staff, but especially Andrea, and especially the techs that sort of just kind of sit there and talk with you in between classes. And we have, you know, moments where it just feels like everyone is there for you, and they put you back in reality, and they don't deal with your BS. And they'll call you out. They won't sit there and coddle you. If you're being ridiculous, they're gonna tell you. You know, it's not always fun. You don't come in here and just jump on a pile of teddy bears. But you do leave here with the tools that you need in order to make something out of the shit that your life has become. And it does give you a chance. And it gives you hope that there is life beyond this addiction. Even if your life is, you know, completely dismantled. These are the first genuine interactions I've had with people in years where I wasn't really high, you know, or living a lie. These people are seeing the most authentic version of myself, which was good and bad, but also very humbling. It was very encouraging to see that other people had the same kind of problems as me and were just as flawed as me in other ways and had the similar kind of problems, and that I wasn't necessarily alone. Obviously, their stories are gonna be different. You know, no two people live the same life. But when you hear other people talk in here, patients and the staff, because most of them are recovering addicts, you find strong similarities between those people and yourself. You start to see a pattern. You're like, wow, I did that too, you know? And wow, I feel that way too, or I felt that way too, and that's what I thought everyone thought, or that's what I thought everyone did. I thought this was normal. I thought everybody drank to get, you know, absolutely drunk. I thought everyone, you know, took 6 of their Xanax instead of the prescribed dose. It's like realizing you're not alone helps you realize that your problems aren't as important as you think they are. And so you don't have to necessarily feel like they're the end of the world. You know, you don't have to look back and say, oh, I cannot believe I did this. Other people have done that too. Other people have done worse. And you will hear those stories and hear. If you've done something, you're going to find someone that has done that 1,000 times, you know, tenfold. So and you see them and you have the compassion for them, at least I feel so much compassion for other addicts. And when I see someone talking about that, and they just talk about it like it's fairly normal, especially if they have some time clean, you know, I don't sit there and think, oh wow, look at this hooligan, you know, look at this look at this delinquent. I don't think that. I think, wow, what an amazing, strong human being. And if we can only find that compassion for ourselves, then I think that we'll be able to make a lot more out of this, you know. But coming out of it, you know, it's not like that. You don't just get everything back. You have to start from a place where you have the tools. If you have received them willingly, you have to be receptive to this, you know. If you're not, it's not going to work out. But you have the tools at this point to leave and go forward and make the next right decision, which is what I say. I always say make the next right decision. And that's actually an Alcoholics Anonymous thing. And it's one of my mantras, because as long as you're making the next right decision, you know that no matter where that leads you, it is the right direction. So, and as a result, I did get things back. It just took work. And the work that it took required sobriety. It required a lot more than just being sober. This is not just about being sober. This is about changing our ways of thinking, our behaviors, the people we surround ourselves with, our mindset, feeling sorry for yourself, resentments, self-hatred. Those things are really what drive me to drink and to use. And so going beyond that, it's a little bit of utilizing those tools, and it's a lot of bit of staying completely clean. And slowly you start seeing the effects in your life that you want from that. And they do happen. It's not magic. It's something that you have to do for yourself. It seems like magic though, because it kind of seems like I've done very little. And yet, you know, a year ago, I can't believe that where I was a wreck. No, I'm not married anymore, but I do have my children back. I am in school. I still struggle with my emotional problems every day. I probably will for the rest of my life. And it's not just a magic, pill. Like I said, it's not you just take something or someone waves a magic wand and suddenly life is right back where you left off or where you want it to be. It's a lot of work. My rock bottom was losing my children. I had people coming to me saying, I can't believe you of all people lost your kids because of that illusion that I'd created. And my entire world was centered around motherhood, which is a good and a bad thing. I definitely value my children above everything in my life. I mean, they mean everything to me. I can't imagine a deeper love than that of a mother for her children. And so losing them felt like the end of the world. It felt like, it's just like, what's the reason to keep going if you don't have your children? And I just love them so much. And I felt like I'd done this to them. They say, don't let your storm get your children wet, and I let that happen. And I didn't want it to happen. I never wanted any of this to happen. I knew that the best thing I could do for my children was to get clean. I wanted to say, no, let's, sugar packet fix and let's keep moving. Please forgive me. Like, I promise I'll get better. But the truth is that was a delusion I was telling myself. And I think I believed it, but it was a lie. And now that I'm so much better and I'm in school, I have my own place, I have all these things that I really wanted. I still want. I still think I could do even better every day. I don't feel like I'm raining on them anymore, if that makes sense. I don't feel like I'm putting my children in a situation where they're in a compromised situation, where they're around things that they don't necessarily need to be around, where their mother is slowly driving herself to the brink of insanity, slowly going, having a mental breakdown, which is what I was having. I was having a mental breakdown. It just piled up. It's surreal. it's surreal to look back and see how bad things were. And now that I'm looking at like a bowl of oranges, the Bright Eyes song. Now that I'm standing back and able to see it for what it really was, I can't believe I didn't see it at the time. It just seems like a movie. Sometimes I just can't believe it's real. I just can't believe where I'm at today.
Where are you at?
Well, where I'm at today, I'm working towards something. I've been put in a situation where I'm forced to grow up, and that's super good. It's good for me. Every day feels really exhausting sometimes. Like I wake up and I've got to go to school, or I've got to take my kids to school, or I have to clean, the house, and it is pretty simple life. That's the fun part about this. This is a lot easier to be clean than it is to constantly juggle, being, looking on the next way to get high or drunk. And I feel like this weird metamorphosis. It's like a shifting. My mindset is shifting. My capabilities are evolving. I just feel honestly like a different person. Like I know that I'm the same person, but I feel like my capabilities, the realm of things that I'm able to do, the things I have access to, the people that have my back, the reactions I'm getting from my good behavior, I just got off probation. So that's great. I feel good. If I could look back and tell myself the thing I needed to hear when I was at my lowest, it would be that you are enough, but that you need to get better. And that there's nothing wrong with telling people that you need help, and that you're not an evil person. You're not a monster. I felt like a monster. I kind of just felt like the bottom of the barrel, like the lowest. I had no self-esteem. So I would say that you are loved.